All right, it's March 31st, 2023, last day of the first quarter of 2023. I expect the second quarter of the year to be filled with all kinds of fireworks. Looks to be the case. We're kicking it off. Yesterday it got kicked off. Trump indicted on, I don't even know what for, some kind of weird election, using election funds to pay to a lying lawyer who then supposedly paid a porn star for an NDA. I don't know. My big question is, where's the jurisdiction? It's an interesting case that, I mean, it's never happened before, so it's unprecedented, but it could set a precedent. Are we going to go after George W. Bush for war crimes in Iraq now? And actually that emergency use authorization, speaking of war crimes, no. That authorization for military force that Congress granted back for the Iraqi war, the oil wars, whatever you want to call it, dollar wars, controlling the dollar, because Hussein is going to use euros for oil. Can't have that. Send in the troops. But the whole weapons of mass destruction thing. Anyway, that authorization that Congress gave back then in, I think, 2002, the Senate just voted to say, no, we're taking it back. The House has to vote, and then the president has to sign it. Good luck. When's the president ever taken back his power? There's still the one after 9/11 that exists, though, so that has broad, allowed the president to send troops into I don't know how many countries. Basically a blanket go to war authorization. Will that get taken away? Probably not. Maybe it will. I don't know. The fact is, all we do is fight unconstitutional wars. But I guess if Congress passes it and gives approval, it's okay. You can call it police action, but it's not a war then. Or you can just send billions of dollars to a country and say, here, do what you want. And fight by proxy. Anyway, what's happening with Trump right now? I don't know. It's a tough one. It's going to be settled in the courts because it says in the Constitution that Congress has the ability to impeach a president and the Senate can convict. But he was impeached twice and never convicted of anything in the Senate. But, I mean, what do you do with a president, especially if he's running for office? I mean, he's still got 4 years left that he can serve as president. Now let's run this through. Let's say he gets indicted. Let's say he gets convicted. Let's say he gets sent to prison. And let's say he wins the election and becomes president. He can pardon himself, basically, and then walk right out of jail. So it's a tough thing to convict a president because of all the powers that's bestowed upon him from all of the people in a fair election, all of the people who elect that president. I mean, he's speaking as for, his base, I guess, is the entire nation. So how can one district convict him? Wouldn't it be, he has to be convicted on a national stage, like impeached, as the Constitution says? It just brings up a lot of issues. He has Secret Service protection, so, I mean, are they going to prison with him? Let me mute this other one, otherwise get interrupted. It just opens up a big can of worms, and it could get into a situation where you see DeSantis saying, from Florida, the governor of Florida says, I'm not going to cooperate with this. So if Trump decides, you know what, I'm not showing up in New York, who's going to come get him? Because you've got Secret Service agents that are bound to protect him. And I mean, you get into jurisdictional battles, and it's almost like a new war between the states, firing at Fort Sumter kind of thing. Maybe that's the plan. I don't know. Speaking of the plan, there was I don't want to get into too much of this, there was a website that had a countdown clock. And I'd watched it for about 2 weeks. And it was counting back day by day by day by day until day 0, which was yesterday. So somebody knew that the indictment was coming. There's inside information. I don't know, the good guy, bad guy thing, what's going on. But somebody knew. That countdown clock had yesterday as the target date. And look what happened. So, I don't know, this may be the kickoff to a whole new scene in the movie. Let's take them all down at this point. Hey, let's indict all the presidents for war crimes. If this one's, you can indict him for paying for a non-disclosure with supposedly campaign funds. Look at all the other campaign funds that have been misallocated, definitely for real, that have never been brought to the surface. A lot of things that this could spur. So Uncertainty, I guess, is the word, though. Buckle up. Be prepared. No matter what you think is going to happen, no matter what side you think you're on, really, you need to be on the side of humanity, ultimately, because, you know, you've got a system that's perpetuated itself, wants to continue perpetuating power at all costs, and it's going to get desperate. I mean, this is what happens in the fall of an empire. You get desperate, and desperate actions occur. People start doing things that don't make a lot of sense, and they start talking about democracy, protect democracy, and we really don't live in a democracy. We live in a democratic form of government, but not a democracy. We live in a representative republic, a constitutional republic. So the rights of the individual are protected. You're not allowed to vote rights away. You're not allowed to 51%. In a real democracy, that's the danger of it. 51% of the people can take away 49% of the people's wealth and lives, for that matter. So a republic, a constitutional republic, that constitution protects your rights, enunciates those rights. And the people representing and the branches of government are there to protect them. You know, there are checks and balances built into it. Whereas just a democracy, a majority rule kind of thing, it's just a mob rule. And that's a scary form of government, because you can be whipped up into emotions and controlled, especially if you can control the media, especially if you control the money and you control the entire system from behind the scenes and you're the puppeteer. You can whip people up into all kinds of emotion. You look at what happened in the past 3 years with the big scare, you know, the whole thing here. A lot of people didn't act very rationally, and the consequences of that are starting to roll out now. So let's move on to the next thing. Now we got a president who's indicted. Never mind the banks. Banks are fine. We got those banks backstopped. Bank stopped. There we go. Bank stopped. You know, you notice how that gets sidetracked, but it's still a problem. Banks are insolvent. In a fractional reserve banking system, banks are insolvent by nature. They don't back up the deposits. They can't. That's just not how it's built. Not when you can loan out 9 times to 1 on every deposit. $1 million goes in the bank, they can loan out 9 million. Those are out in loans. Where's the money go? Where's the cash gets invested in locked up treasuries, you know, low interest rates, loaned out to people, and it's gone. And it's gone. So those problems still exist. And I see that the government now comes out. See, they always do this in crypto. The Mt. Gox thing, you know, is an exchange that went down and the government came in and seized all the crypto and never made anybody whole. But they held the crypto. And now they're talking about, well, you know, the Silk Road crypto, you know, we're going to dump 41,000 plus Bitcoin on the market this year. And they'll do it at strategic times to beat down the price of Bitcoin, scare people out of it. Why are they so scared of cryptocurrency? Why are they so scared of people having it? Why do they constantly have to have messages of fear? Elizabeth Warren was on CNBC this morning, senator from Massachusetts, and her, keep this going, she wants to, target crypto. She says it needs to be the same as everything else. You know, why wouldn't it be? Why would anybody be against it? It needs to have KYC, AML, all the, you know, laws that are currently in place for, you know, Venmo, for CashApp, for PayPal in our banking system. The same should apply to crypto. Well, the thing is, crypto's different. It's not in your system. It's just a bunch of words on paper that run code, and we decide to give it energy. It has nothing to do, the White House says it has no value, so okay, fine, has no value. I'll choose to give it value, and other people I know will choose to give it value, and that's what we'll do. It has nothing to do with the government. Government doesn't back it. Government doesn't make you whole when you go under. The government, it doesn't insure it, so why do they want to be involved in it? The government's not going to insure, you know, these shoes that get holes in them. I choose to wear them, and, you know, they get a hole in it, and the spider gets in there and bites me. It's my fault. You know, the government's not going to protect me from that. It's completely outside their purview. Just like crypto is really outside their purview, other than the fact that it's dangerous to them because it allows people, common people, to take their energy outside of a vampire system that they've produced for us. It allows us to take that wealth out of that system and walk away. They don't like that. They want you to continue to participate in the vampire casino, which gets me to the Fednow. All right. Puff on this thing a little bit more, Westwood. Suck down that smoke. I can't. You know, it's windy out. We got a storm coming. Storm is upon us. But today, yeah, there's some weather coming in. Potential tornadoes in the area. So it should make for an interesting happy hour. A little bit after that is when the brunt of it's coming through. So we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll do a live spaces in the midst of the tornado. I don't feel any pain at that point, I guess, you know, after happy hour. But now there is some severe weather in the area. You're going to have to be careful. The storm is almost upon us here, and just be prepared for it. But back to the Fednow. By the way, what you smoking, Westwood? This is a Series V. No, it's not a Series V. That's what I love, Series V. No, it's an Oliva Series O Maduro Robusto. So the Maduro wrap's a little bit darker. I like a little dark taste, you know? Taste the darkness. Appreciate the light that way. So the Fednow. Tomorrow, April 1st, they are signing up banks. Banks can sign up to participate in the Fednow system, get certified to where they can transfer stuff on this new standard, the ISO 20022. And there are several coins that meet that standard, XRP being one of them. And it allows, there's videos out there, but it allows instantaneous transactions. I think there's going to be fees attached to it if you want it to be in real time, but it's proposing that you can send value 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, nonstop, and you'll get your money instantaneously. You need to pay somebody? Well, you can use the Fednow app, and you know what? If your bank's linked to it, you can use the Fednow system to where you can transfer value immediately, even on the weekend. I mean, they're painting this like it's some glorious thing, and I think, okay, well, I can do that right now with Litecoin. I can do that right now with Digibyte. I've been talking about this for over 4 years. You know how you can do this on a Sunday when the banks are closed. Already got the answer. Why do we need to participate in this? Well, it's the existing system trying to kind of reinvent itself, retool itself to stay relevant. And I ask anybody, all right, so the Fednow system goes into place. Are the BRICS nations going to participate in it? Are they going to meet the new boss, same as the old boss, and continue to gamble in the vampire casino that is the Western banking system? Are they going to continue to do that? I doubt that they do. So this is being painted as something that's so great, and oh wow, instantaneous transactions, but is there real value being sent, or is it just messaging saying, hey, yeah, okay, it's good, okay? Is it just a glorification of the, you know, the Visa system or something? I don't know. I'll have to, I know Johnny Litecoin and Litecoin Lisa had a video yesterday. I haven't seen it yet, and I think they were going to get into this whole thing, or maybe they got into the Restrict Act, but that's a whole nother thing. But the Fednow system, all it's really doing, as far as I can tell, is the same thing that you can do with Litecoin and Digibyte right now. However, what I do question is, okay, let's say you're using XRP, for instance, to send the messaging, a messaging system, you know, in real time that, hey, this bank, you know, transfer this over here, we're giving you the message that, yeah, we got the money here. I mean, are you actually transferring an underlying asset? Or is it just a message that says, yes, I'm going to do this? And just basically making ledger entries. Or is the Fed actually, you know, maintaining a ledger and saying, okay, this bank, that bank, centralizing it all between banks? By participating in this system, are you just centralizing what assets that you have in the bank with the Fed? Which I think that's where they want to take it anyway. And whatever they choose to use will ultimately be a CBDC, a central bank digital currency. And I think if everybody uses that and they just replace, you know, their dollar digits or Federal Reserve note digits with central bank digital currency digits, then it can all be just nice and managed. And it's going to flow very great and nicely. And a lot of people, and I have nothing against XRP. I'm just, you know, I look at it as a skeptical person, and I think, okay, what is that going to do for if they used, you know, something like XRP or Algorand or, you know, one of these other coins, if they use that in the central bank as in the Fednow system? Ultimately, is it transacting value, or is it just messaging, using that network for messaging? And if it is transacting value, well, do you have to, you know, the bank deposits, do they have to be an XRP, and then XRP gets transferred to the other bank in real time, and then that's the asset? I don't know. If that is, then they're going to need a lot of XRP. I shouldn't say that. Well, there is a lot of XRP. They're going to need it to soak up a lot of the notes then. And so I guess the value would be quite a bit. But ultimately, it's still based in the old dead system, the vampire system. It's really just tokenizing dollars at that point, right? Or Federal Reserve notes. And so, I don't know. So the value may go up in Federal Reserve notes, but still, it's a controlled system. You're locked in their ecosystem. You're locked in the digital vampire casino. So to me, what benefit is it to continuing to participate in a system that has started unlimited wars and, you know, created all kinds of abuses, dark agencies, three-letter agencies, and you know, something that's been a scourge to humanity? Why do I care if that's more efficient? Why do I want to hold something that underpins that same system? And so I guess that's my problem with it. It's like, okay, there's an Altered Carbon. There's a show on Netflix. All right. Essentially, if you got enough money, you don't die, because they have what's called a stack. It has all of your consciousness, and it's embedded in like your brainstem. So your body dies, they take the stack out, and they can put it in a new sleeve, they call it. You know, you slide into this new sleeve. And so if you got enough money, you can, your new sleeve can be, you know, some bodybuilder or some, you know, martial artist or some superhero type. You know, your body's like ready to go. And so, you know, you take your consciousness and insert it in this new sleeve, and then you go on. You get a new body. Or you have the same body, you know, just the clone type body. But your consciousness is in the stack, and it goes on. So to me, the old system, what they're doing is taking the stack, their consciousness, their attitude, you know, their system, and then you're just plugging it into a new system that's got a better body, that's a little more efficient, can run faster, but it's still the same essence. I don't want any part of that essence, because that essence is dark. It's a vampire essence. That's why I call it a vampire casino. So you're going to have Vampire Casino 2.0 or whatever, 5.0. No thanks. And that's why I want to stick to the pure blockchains, the ones that it took all this work and all this energy that people put into it, voluntarily in most cases. These blockchains that have worked, that are really just outside of that. They've reinvented all that. And they can do everything that system wants to do. It's just that now you've got an underlying asset. Now you've got the Digibyte. Now you've got the Litecoin. I mean, to me, that's just a better system, because you hold it in your possession in a decentralized way, instead of in a centralized way where it can be controlled. So those are the distinctions that I make, and I don't care if it's efficient or not. You know, the whole Fednow system. I don't care if it's using whatever coin. You know, unless it's a coin with a finite supply, a limited supply that's got work behind it, that was not created out of nothing, and to where you don't have a company holding, you know, coins off the market that can be flooded at any time. I mean, I don't want any of that. I'm tired of that. That's vampire stuff. Don't want any part of it. They're going to use your energy. Sorry, vehicle going by. I'd rather be in the sound blockchains. I want to be outside of it, and I don't care. Yeah, you can make a lot of money, you know, you get invested in this, you know, it could go to this price, that price. But again, it's the price and what they hold and what they control. I don't want any of that. I want to be able to control it. I want something that stands on its own. When this whole thing fails, those coins are probably going to fail. But when you've got energy that exists outside the system, networks that exist outside the system and run independently, where no central bank can get involved in it and stop it, where no government can get involved and stop it, that's what I want. And that's why Litecoin to me is sound money for the digital age. That's what I'm into. I want to take control of my wealth, take control of my energy. And blockchains like Litecoin and Digibyte, they allow me to do that. So anyway, there's that. All right. talk more about this stuff on Happy Hour today at 4 p.m. Central Time on Litecoin Lisa's YouTube channel. We'll get into all these things and a little bit more loose because I've been having a few cocktails, and we're at a time. Things have changed. Massive things are happening that could not be predicted, but kind of were predicted. Makes you wonder what kind of movie we're watching here. So invest in popcorn. Take a look at Litecoin and Digibyte. Those are people's money to me. So take a look at them. Join us for Happy Hour, 4 p.m. Central Time on Litecoin Lisa's YouTube channel. I hope to see you there. Thanks for watching. And the main thing in all of this, as all this stuff gets crazy and minds are getting blown, like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? And you're getting all worked up because that's what they want you to do. Get all worked up, passion, oh my gosh, the trans are shooting the Christians and the Christians hate the trans and oh, it's biblical. And just step back and realize all this is a narrative to try and divide and conquer. Don't let them do it. Take possession of your assets and then you can sleep at night. Just realize what those assets are. Do some research on it. And most of all, in this process, you got to trust yourself. That's really what it comes down to. Use discernment, look inside, trust yourself. And I think you'll be fine. All right, love you all. Hope to see you on Happy Hour today at 4 p.m. Central Time. Have a wonderful Friday and trust yourself. Always, always trust yourself.